Hello, and you are listening to the Book Was Better podcast, the podcast where we talk about the book of the film. I'm Luke.
I'm Lauren.
And this week we're talking about Beethoven's Second.
Hey you, put down the popcorn and turn on the light. It's gonna be alright, my friend. In the end, take my hand. Trust me, the book was better.
Holy crap, we are back, episode 181 with Lauren. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you? Sorry about that flubbed beginning. It's been so long.
Everybody since I've come back has flubbed the beginning. I don't know if you've noticed, but it's been an absolute unprofessional nightmare.
Well, it's been a year, Luke. Almost to the day.
I know, and this is the first time I've checked in with you, or even any American, I think, since you guys decided that it would be a really good idea for the world to be run by a reality TV star.
What? What happened?
Yeah, a little something.
Something happened?
Yeah, how's that working out?
Oh. I don't know. If you just want to hear me sobbing for an hour, let's continue talking about that.
Well, I only bring it up because I feel like I've been pointing out the warning signs ever since the show began. That, unless there were some changes, that all this behavior was going to lead to a world of trouble. Even as I look at Beethoven here, I can see the clues in the text. You can see that the sort of people that would watch Beethoven Second, would definitely vote for Trump. I'm surprised. In fact, I'm going to say it here first. Beethoven 2020.
I think Beethoven's probably dead.
Well, son of Beethoven. And don't tell me you didn't have a son, because I know what happens in this book, because I read it.
Well, this book and movie is so good that I couldn't find it anywhere online to watch. And when I went to the library to check out one of the 3 copies they supposedly have, I couldn't find it there either. And that means that it's a really good movie, right?
I think so. I think people probably stole it and kept it for themselves. I wouldn't be surprised if teenagers sort of going through that hormonal kind of phase, starting to explore the world, explore themselves, might have snuck this one out and into their rooms or something, because as we're going to find out, it's a bit of a sexy book.
Yeah, that's weird.
And it's a book about love, really, isn't it?
Yeah, we're anthropomorphizing these dogs, or however you say that word. It's 6 a.m. I don't know.
Yes, and of course, if people haven't figured it out already, we are doing this thanks to the amazing technology of the fancy mixing desk.
Yay!
When I say fancy,
thank you, Patreons.
It's a very basic entry-level mixing desk. But it's pretty great, and it allows us to do things like this.
I hear that you got friendly with a monkey at one point.
Isn't that fun? Well, no one will ever tire of that, right?
Never.
So you didn't get to see the film, and I know that sort of, goes against your normal, you work hard at these generally, but...
I try to be diligent, but just
gotta
didn't
let
work
it go.
out this time.
Gotta let it go.
Yeah.
Because, nobody else does the work, I promise. I just got to read this thing, write the excerpts, and then we are all good to go. And I don't know if life would be any better if you actually saw some of this stuff happening on screen.
I think you're right about that.
And I'm sure you know what I'm alluding to, but we'll save that as a bit of a surprise, because this movie is bonkers. It's absolutely bananas. And we're going to get into that. So let's not waste any more time. This book is by Robert Tyne, who, like a fork, right?
Right, yeah.
Author of A Universal Soldier, which has been done on this show, plus The Astronaut's Wife, Outbreak. Now, why have I not done Outbreak on this show?
I was just thinking that myself.
If you're going to have a story about a crazy monkey going apeshit, there is no better one than Outbreak. Am I right?
That's true.
Sounds perfect. So let's get on to that, somebody. Demolition Man, that's on my short list. I'd like to do that one. Last Action Hero.
Yeah, I love Last Action Hero.
Kid gets a magic movie ticket and goes through the screen into the cinema.
Yep.
Lucky he hadn't
awesome.
snuck into Basic Instinct. There's only a small window of opportunity when the thighs are open, and once they're closed again, you're stuck.
Oh, gross.
Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. I did not even know that was a novelization.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I see that I have a joke that's wrong then. I read that wrong. Whoops.
You were thinking of Excellent Adventure.
I was, because I was going to say he wrote 2 books that feature Beethoven.
Yeah.
Or Beethoven.
Yes, close enough. Footloose. If there's one thing I like more than watching dancing, it's reading.
It's reading about dancing.
That's correct. And Beverly Hills Cop 2. Isn't that a banana in the tailpipe?
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that one.
Have you seen the first one?
Possibly. I know the song.
What was the song? Ah, yes. Yeah. Again!
Anyway.
Keep talking.
So, look, a lot of great books there. Unfortunately, this isn't one of them. So before you get too excited about this guy, I don't think, for the most part, he injects too much of his personality into this. I think he figured it's a kid's book. It's about dogs. Let's play it pretty safe. Although, that said, you would be definitely fooled into thinking that it was an adult novelization. It's 200 pages.
Oh, man.
Yeah, doesn't really need to be.
I'm sure the script was maybe 10 pages.
But you can tell when I'm sort of finding, bowing under the stress of reading a book every week, because I sometimes need to take a break with a dog movie, because you know that any movie that stars a dog is going to be just absolute batshit dumb.
Mm-hmm.
And this won't disappoint. So, look, should we read the beginning, Lauren?
Sure thing.
Of this dog movie?
All right. Am I starting or you're starting?
You start. I think I've
right.
spoken enough already.
Never mind. Okay, here we go.
All right.
He's big, he's bad, he's Beethoven, and he's hungry.
Beethoven's big, brown, wet nose twitched and quivered as the smell of something delicious wafted up the stairs from the Newtons' kitchen. The huge brown and white Saint Bernard immediately jumped up to his feet and thundered down the stairs, his nose to the floor, following the mouth-watering aroma.
In the kitchen, Beethoven found all the Newtons gathered at the dining table. There was the littlest Newton, 6-year-old Emily, and next to her Ted, her 10-year-old brother, and Rice, the oldest child, sat next to Mrs. Newton. At the head of the table was Beethoven's special favorite, Mr. Newton.
The whole family was laughing happily as they sat down to dinner. Emily cut a piece of juicy steak and offered it to her canine friend.
Here, Beethoven, she said. Her father looked on, beaming with delight at the gesture. Beethoven's big, thick, pink tongue slipped out of his mouth and licked the tender morsel off the fork. He swallowed it quickly, and that little juicy tidbit only made Beethoven realize just how hungry he really was.
Keep talking. This is amazing. What are you doing to me?
What a sexy book. Big, thick, pink tongue slipped out of his mouth, licked the tender morsel, the juicy tidbits. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, okay. I totally missed doing this with you, Luke.
What a treat, right? Because it turns out, I'm not even going to spoil it. Let's keep going. It gets even better for Beethoven.
We want you to have this. Mr. Newton picked up another covered dish and put it down next to the roast beef. On this plate was a giant bone. It looked so big it must have come from a dinosaur. And suddenly Beethoven couldn't make up his mind which treat to eat first.
Oh my God. So all of these options, big pink tongue slapping around the place, it's all very erotic, but it was only a dream. It was a doggy dream. And there's a bit of a clue because it was written in italics.
Oh, so how do you know it wasn't a dream? Or it was a dream?
Because it was written in italics.
Oh.
And
I thought it was because this American family wasn't stuffing its face with hamburgers.
Oh, that's true. And they weren't shooting each other with guns at the table either. That's
or
how
living in
I
a
knew.
constant existential crisis.
Yeah. Rice. What do you think of that as a name?
I think it's a terrible name. And later there's a character named Brillo. So it's like they're just looking around a room, a pantry. Like,
Bag of
hey,
groceries.
Rice. Cool.
I think her name is Rice because this is the whitest family ever.
True.
And she's played by, like, the girl from The Nanny, right?
Right.
The
the older
teenager.
sister.
The older one, yeah.
Nicole something.
Nicole something or other, eh? What happened to her? You know, there were, like, 8 or 11 Beethoven movies.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. No.
This was the last one to go into an actual cinema, but everything else was straight to DVD. But just shows that Beethoven did better than Nicole something or other. I don't reckon she did 8 movies afterwards.
The original cast is in this one too.
Yes, I want to talk about some of those as we go. Beethoven is woken from his glorious slumber when Rice, described as a pretty 15-year-old, pretty much beans him on the head with a roll of toilet paper as everybody gets ready for school.
And pretty, so we don't even get a description of how hot she is.
No, I found that really suspicious. And then I began to realise as the book progressed that this really is from the dog's point of view. And to him, the sort of treats he expects from her are of the meaty food variety. Got myself stuck there for a second. I was stuck in the middle of that sentence like big old Winnie the Pooh.
Well, does it get exciting next?
It does get very exciting. Mr. Newton was just sitting down to breakfast. He was dressed in his best suit, ready to go to work. He was talking to his wife about his favourite subject, air fresheners. Mr. Newton had started a small business, the Newton Air Freshener Company, and he worked hard there. In fact, next to his family, air fresheners were the most important thing in George Newton's life. 200 pages, this thing.
I mean, did they just go on to describe all the different smells of the air fresheners?
They do talk about, like, lots of his different air freshener plans, and I didn't put these all in there because they were really dull, but he, like, wants to have football-shaped air fresheners that smell like leather. He wants to have a Charles Barkley-shaped air freshener that smells like Charles Barkley.
Oh, gross.
It gets grosser. And what about poor sex-starved wife Alice? I mean, where does she fit into this air freshener fantasy land?
She couldn't pay attention to... She couldn't pay all her attention to him because she had 4 different breakfasts to prepare, 3 different cereals for her children, and a plate of bacon and eggs for her husband.
Another indentured woman of the very dark 1990s. That was a bad time. People think, all this was sorted out in, like, 60s, things like... No, 90s, very dark time. And I want to know, what kind of world do we live in as well, where, a 15-year-old can't pour their own bowl of cereal?
Right. Maybe she's just mad that they named her Rice.
I would understand it if it was a 15-year-old boy child.
Oh, yeah.
But this is pretty 15-year-old Rice, a female, and, within a couple of years, she might have to prepare for breakfast.
Right after her camping trip. But
well, it very nearly happens. I still, until we get DNA tests, I'm not even sure who belongs to the puppies. Could be anyone. Do you think this is, and I still don't have any kind of little jingle for this, but do you think that this could be a bit of unintentional comedy corner?
2 little lines of drool slipped from his mouth and almost stained Mr. Newton's trouser.
Yeah, that was 10-year-old Ted. That had the drool from his mouth. Very disturbing. And no one is paying the poor, wretched, hungry Beethoven any attention, which I think is pretty rude considering how successful the first movie was.
Yeah, it's named after him, so you'd think they would love him or something. I don't know.
You'd think they'd be happy with all those sweet residuals. But mother is a slave. Dad is very air freshener focused. The two little kids, clearly useless. And Rice is wrestling a cliche here. She is going to get a lift to school with the mysterious him.
The him was Taylor Devereaux, by far the coolest boy in Rice's class, and one that she had had a secret crush on for years.
And this douche shows up, and the book says he is 18, which seems contradictory that he's in her class. I guess he's not the smartest person.
To jail with him.
In the class. 3 years,
Charles Grodin's
perhaps?
character would totally have him put in jail.
What do you think of Charles Grodin? Are you a Grodin fan? Are you a Grodin groupie?
Well, I only really remember him from the first Beethoven, because when I was a kid, I was 12 when the movie came out or something, and I watched the movie all the time. So then I saw on Seinfeld that episode where Jerry's going on the Charles Grodin show with like a bottle of hot sauce, and I was like, is he a comedian? I didn't even know.
I'll tell you why I love Charles Grodin. My caper in this instance is the Great Muppet Caper, where he's the like dapper jewel thief, and he's in love with Miss Piggy. And what I love about him is he's like 100% commitment to the role. Like, he looks at that puppet and you 100% believe that he wants to bang that pig like a barn door in the wind. Like, he is all over her. He's like fondling her, grabbing her. He's just intensely looking at this foam pig and just absolutely selling the love. And I mean, you picture poor Frank Oz there, crouching down below, getting his arm wrenched around. It just fascinates me. I think it's amazing.
Poor Frank Oz getting poked in the eye.
Yeah, yes. Imagine trying to Muppeteer with that banging in the back of your head. And my first pop culture crush was Miss Piggy. I thought she was a bit of a all right.
Oh, okay. That explains a lot about you, Luke.
Yeah. The spongy cleavage.
All right. Anyway.
Okay. If you don't want to hear about my Miss Piggy fantasies, we will press on. In the movie, George, the dad, Charles Grodin, and Beethoven are suspicious of Taylor Devereaux, although the mum, Alice, in the film is kind of charmed at how handsome he is. In the book, however...
Taylor was a master at the art of charming parents. "Hi, I'm Taylor Devereaux," he said, shaking Mr. Newton's hand firmly. "And you have my word that Rice will get to school and back again in perfect safety." "That's good," says Mrs. Newton evenly, "because if she didn't, I would be forced to firebomb your bedroom."
Firebomb your bedroom.
That's a big threat.
That's a pretty harsh mum there. I'm going to be disappointed if that's not a little epilogue after the credits scene in this film, considering what's going to happen a little bit later. So these horny teens are important to the narrative because they've clearly inspired Beethoven. He's picking up some pheromones and he starts randomly wandering the street without a collar, feeling a strange stirring in his own shaggy loins.
As Beethoven patrolled his neighborhood, he started to notice that everyone had someone except him.
No.
The first thing he saw was a cute couple, a man and a woman, walking hand in hand down the street. They were trailed by their dogs, two cute curly-haired poodles. They looked like a very happy family, and Beethoven sighed forlornly. No room for him there.
I don't know. Like, why not suggest a cheeky three-way?
Yeah, maybe I don't know.
These,
That would have been taking the movie in a whole nother direction.
French poodles doing a little Eiffel Tower. I think that's sweet. I think that's a collector plate.
Oh, no.
So, Beethoven, he sees more dogs in love, he sees birds in love, everybody's in love, and then in the park, Beethoven finally sees Missy. But the question is, as always, is she hot?
Turning around, he saw a beautiful female St. Bernard running across the field towards her owner. Beethoven gazed at this beautiful girl and felt light-hearted, dazed at the glorious vision in red and white fur. Music seemed to swell up and fill his ears, and the earth seemed to move under his feet. It only took one look, and Beethoven knew, at last, he'd found his life's companion, the girl of his dreams. His tail wagged happily, and his eyes shone brightly.
Talk about putting the puppy on the pedestal here. See what I did there?
I see that, yes.
And in the film, she's got a pink bow in her hair to sort of signify that she is a girl dog. Kind of like Miss Pac-Man being a girl Pac-Man. And or Daisy Duck. She's got the pink bow on her head.
Yeah, how else are you going to know?
I quite like Daisy Duck. Because, oh no, does she wear pants? I think she does wear pants.
She does? I thought she didn't.
I think she...
I don't know.
I don't know. I'd look on the internet, but I think these days I wouldn't get a proper answer, right? I think the results would be skewed.
Only with Safe Search.
True.
What was the musical cue in that scene? Was it?
I think it was.
Bow, bow, bow.
I think it was that. Like, you know, just really sort of cliche romantic love music.
Because I was picturing like, I've been feeling fine, baby.
Yeah, a lot of things could have happened there. I don't know the timing of this. I think it was probably too early for Who Let the Dogs Out. Otherwise, they love putting that in trailers for movies that have dogs in them. Just, you know, absolutely made for that.
Mm-hmm.
And Missy's owner is a dude called Brillo, as you mentioned before, who, upon seeing this strange stray dog getting all lipsticky for his beloved pet, who isn't desexed either, decides to buy them an ice cream. At the same time, Missy and Beethoven leaned forward, and with one quick whisk of their big pink tongues, they whipped the ice cream right out of the cones. Without taking their eyes off each other, they gulped down the treat. Look, this, to be honest, this is a bit of a one-handed read.
Only for you.
They're just staring into each other's eyes, dual tongue action. You don't think that this is...
This is amazing. What are you doing to me?
No.
Why do the sexy dog book if you're not going to go along with the sexy dog book stuff? You're putting up a sexy dog wall here.
That's my job.
And I'm just trying to poke a glorious little hole in that sexy dog wall. It's going to be so many long pauses for me to cut out as my comments are greeted by silence. Editing. Sigh. All right. Speaking of hot, Brillo's soon-to-be ex-wife Regina shows up to dog block everything. And she is played by... Is it Debbie Mazar?
Mazar. I love Debbie Mazar.
Love Debbie Mazar too. I think she's amazing. And where do you know her from?
Oh, like she's in everything. I don't know specifically, but if you ever need like a severe mob type woman, they put her in. Batman
Forever, Two Faces, Sugar and Spice, Drew Barrymore, and Debbie Mazar.
Yeah, she's the bad one.
Yeah. Love her. Beethoven looked at the woman and decided he didn't like what he saw. She was very thin, with bony, sharp features that gave her a mean, spiteful look. Her hair was dyed red and her fingernails were the colour of blood. Clutched in one hand was a thick chrome chain. In the other was a heavy alligator skin handbag. Beethoven clearly has zero taste. I think Debbie Mazar is a thing of absolute wonderment.
I agree with you. What does a dog know about fashion anyway?
Or anything.
Besides, like, dog food.
I'm so like, well, they're not, that's the thing about dogs. I'm sorry, but they're not educated.
True, like most people.
Yes. My God, we are hitting all the tough subjects. We're not afraid to talk about them. We're not afraid to say what everybody's thinking in these hushed times, are we?
That's right. We're taking a stand.
Yes, someone has to. Beethoven is pissed because Regina puts a chain around Missy. She's basically using her as leverage in the divorce settlement.
Oh. Brillo didn't really look it, but he was pretty rich, and he was prepared to give up a large part of his fortune to get his beloved dog out of the clutches of his soon-to-be ex-wife.
And the amount in question, according to the book, this large amount, is $50,000.
That will buy you like an eighth of a house.
Just give her the car, for Christ's sake. Like,
I know, jeez.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't have $50,000 to just give someone, but it's not a big amount in the grand scheme of things.
But in 1993 money, was it a big amount?
I don't even think it was a big amount in 1993 money. I think it was nothing. And speaking of money, George Newton, Charles Grodin, is seeing the bank manager, and apparently this is the best way to secure a loan from the bank. We should let's sandwich. It belongs to my son, said Mrs. Newton.
Mr. Bickert looked alarmed.
So this couple is going to banks and forcing people to smell their 10-year-old son's dirty underwear. What the fuck is this?
I think I saw this on Reddit once.
Can you imagine someone doing this on, like, Shark Tank or something?
Ugh, well, it'll make an impression.
Here, Mr. Wonderful, I have a 10-year-old boy. Would you like to sniff his dirty underwear? Like, and they're complicit in this. They're both sort of going for it.
Inappropriate.
Inappropriate indeed. So the bank will only do it as a personal loan if they put up their house, which I wrote down because I thought that's going to be important later, but honestly, I don't remember if it was or not.
Yeah, they kind of dropped that thread.
Meanwhile, though, Beethoven is stalking Missy and breaking into her house.
Beethoven didn't hesitate. He made a great big running jump and vaulted the space separating him from his new girlfriend. He landed at Missy's feet. The two dogs were delighted to see each other, and they happily licked each other's faces.
Beethoven steals her away from Regina's apartment in order to do the dirtiest of deeds without any protection.
I guess none of these owners ever watch The Price is Right. Bob Barker says, don't forget to spay and neuter your pets.
They probably... Does he say that right at the end?
Yeah, every time.
That's the problem. They've already switched on to something else.
Oh, true.
Not good at all. Meanwhile, Ted was the 10-year-old boy whose underwear's been thrown, like, just trotted around the city, is trying out for baseball and blushing because he's the smallest and weakest, and some girls are laughing at him. Girls can be very cruel.
True.
Don't you think he'd be blushing more if he knew what his parents were doing with his dirty underwear at this point?
Oh.
You see them pulling
Ted
up in
plodded home slowly. With each step, he felt more miserable. Ted was small and unsure of himself, and he couldn't play any sport to save his life. Worse than that, he was good in class, algebra, history, science. He could handle them all, and seemed to make him even more unpopular.
So sorry, Ted. America still hates smart people.
Yep, I'm so oppressed here.
They hated them in 1993, and look what happened in 2017. All the signs are there. All the clues.
Yep.
Can you, when you're talking, can you hear me talk?
Yeah.
No, you say something and I'll say something, and I'll say a word.
Okay, I'm talking
Pig.
now.
What did I say?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay.
I don't know. I heard you say something, but I couldn't hear it.
I don't think that's the thing with this setup. I don't think you can hear me talk when you're talking.
Oh, well, see, that's just because I'm the most important person in the world.
No, well, I mean, like, Jacinta said that as well, and it's true. So, like, sometimes people will, so if people are wondering, hang on, why was Luke half a sentence while you were reading something? That's why, you can't hear me.
That's right. Sorry.
I was just saying that, I reckon the family, like, pulled up while the girls were laughing and said, hey, girls, have a whiff of this.
Ew.
Guess what it is? Rotten fish? No, Ted. Ted knows what it is. Don't you, Ted? Come over here and talk to these girls. Anyway, everything's gone to shit. Beethoven hasn't come home. Rice gets dropped off late by Taylor, who gives her first kiss on the porch. This guy is 18 years old.
However, as her feet hit the ground, her knees almost gave out as if her legs were asleep, and she felt so lightheaded from the kiss that she thought she might faint. So instead of a breezy amble up to the house, Rice managed something between tiptoes and a stagger.
It was only a kiss, for goodness sake. It sounds like, she was having trouble walking.
Well, you don't remember your first kiss, Luke?
I do remember my first kiss.
I thought maybe you were too old. Zing!
No, I was like 11. I was 10 or 11 and I was at a holiday camp and the girl was a year older than me and she was really lovely. Like, she was a pretty hot girl in our school and she was about a foot taller than I was. And she had like grape Hubba Bubba bubblegum in her mouth.
Oh, nice.
And we went behind this pile of like stuff out the back of the camp. It's a very romantic story. I don't know why it stunned you into silence. It was a beautiful moment.
Well, what flavor gum was it? That's my question.
It was grape. I said it was grape.
Oh, sorry. I missed that. I wasn't listening.
That's good. That's a good quality in a co-host.
Yep. Have I mentioned that it's early in the morning?
Yeah. Look at our banter. All right. Well, I'll tell all the stories. That's fine. Missy and Beethoven are at the drive-in. That's romantic.
Mm-hmm. Missy turned and touched her nose to Beethoven's, and he jumped slightly, as if he had been shocked. No instant in time he thought he could ever be as perfect as this one. But as he was to learn, the whole night turned out to be perfect.
Oh, I wonder what that's referring to, hey? Oh, my. Who let the dogs out indeed? This is exactly what the Baha men were talking about. So,
is it?
I'm pretty sure it is. Beethoven's second. That's what the song was about. So, 10 weeks later, how many of these characters do you think are pregnant? Let's find out. Beethoven is still totally mad for it. He looks like a billboard for lipstick. George comes home sad from the air freshener factory because Charles Barkley is being a shithead about, he wants $1 million to give his likeness and his smell. So Beethoven jumps Charles Grodin.
All of a sudden, George was enveloped in a furry embrace as Beethoven wrapped his paws around George's shoulders, pinning him to the wall. Beethoven's big, pink, warm tongue slapped across his face like a paintbrush.
Now, so George is definitely pregnant. We know that.
Yeah, how many times did the author write big, pink, warm tongue?
It's the only time that the author actually seems into it and invested in it, which is kind of a worrying thing.
Yeah, ooh.
So Beethoven keeps ducking out at night, so Emily and Ted follow him to the underground garage of Regina's apartment. And what do you think they discover?
There, in the farthest corner of the little space, were 4 tiny St. Bernard puppies. The little dogs were trying to crawl and open their tiny eyes, but they were too weak to make the tiniest little squeak.
Beethoven to Beethoven's bastards.
Yep, they gotta go on the Maury show to get a paternity test.
Get some DNA off that pink bow. Let's find out what happened. But then the kids have to hide because Regina enters. Debbie Mazar enters with caretaker Gus and discovers the puppies. And she's really a cut-price Cruella de Vil in this story. But instead of a practical usage for these things, like a fancy coat, she just wants to... Money? No way. Not 1 penny from me. Just get rid of him. Drown him, why don't you? Emily and Ted exchanged horrified looks. It was all they could do to hang on to Beethoven. The fewer dogs in this world, the better, I say, sneered Regina. Hey, wake up and give me a hand here, Gus. I am totally on Regina's side. I reckon drown Emily and Ted while you're at it. It will make for a shorter book. We go home early. Less editing. All good.
I did actually watch this scene online. And she's like, oh, well, shelters charge a fee to take puppies. And I'm like, no, they don't. Everyone would want a puppy. You could just hand them out on the street.
No, she doesn't want to pay a cent. She doesn't want to even waste the petrol/gas getting over to that place. And as we know from any book with dogs in it, they're all kill shelters.
True. Well, that's not true, but yeah.
Like Beverly Hills Chihuahua, everything we've read, it's always like, oh my God, if you go to the shelter, you are fucking dead. I'm surprised American kids don't spit at like animal workers when they see them on the street.
Oh, maybe they do. I've never seen one, actually. But anyway.
You've never seen the dog catcher with the big net?
Nope. That's kind of a whimsical fake job, I think.
Wow, what? Not in Trump's America, It won't be. He's creating jobs. That's a good job. He should create that one. It's classic.
Yeah, right.
So the kids manage to somehow rescue the puppies and take them home by pretending that they are chocolate bars. I'm not even kidding. They smuggle them out going, oh, this is a box of chocolate bars.
Sure, why not?
And Regina's like, oh, well, give me one. And they're like, oh, they're like for charity. And she's like, how much? And they're like, $11. And she's like, get fucked. And so they leave. But now they've got to hide them from their dad, George, because I guess he's pro-drowning as well.
I wouldn't put it past him. He seems pretty curmudgeonly.
Yeah, like, is that I haven't seen the first one. Is that, like, he just hates dogs?
Yeah, he doesn't want the dog in the first one, but in the end, he begrudgingly loves the dog.
So it's sort of like, I've got this idea for a film about someone that doesn't like Christmas, but then by the end of it,
wow, I've never seen anything like that.
Die in a snowdrift. So they enlist Rice, and the kids and Rice, they name the puppies. And I figure whatever they come up with, it's not going to be as bad as Rice.
True.
Let's share this around. Her father is Beethoven. He was a musician from a long time ago. She needs a musical name. They all thought for a moment.
How about Dolly, said Rice, like Dolly Parton.
Emily nodded. That's good. She picked up another puppy. This one is so fat. He's chubby.
Like Chubby Checker, said Rice.
Who's that?
Rice frowned. I'm not sure. He was a singer, I think. I heard Mom and Dad talk about him. He was from when they were kids.
That was a long, long time ago, said Emily. What a scamp.
Ted was examining another puppy. He looks like one of the Three Stooges. Let's call him Mo.
His two sisters nodded in agreement. And one of them should have a real musical name, said Rice. Let's name the little one Tchaikovsky.
Who was that? Said Ted.
Emily looked at her brother with disgust.
Don't you know anything? He was in a band with Beethoven like 100 years ago.
I feel so much dumber for having just shared that with the world. What?
Yeah,
these weren't references in 1993. Like, why would these kids give a shit about any of these things?
I know, like the Stooges, Chubby Checker.
Our parents were talking about Chubby Checker when they were just in the kitchen and, hey, let's not talk about air fresheners for a while. Let's talk about Chubby Checker. You remember Chubby Checker? He was so chubby and checkery. He sure was,
let's
dear.
do the twist again.
Like we did last summer.
Mm-hmm.
So what would the names be now? Like Kanye, Beyonce, the runt is Bieber?
Tovlo? I don't even know who that is, but I saw it in a magazine.
Yeah, like...
Or Kurt Cobain?
Yeah. Well, that would have been relevant in 1993.
Right. But parents are so old, am I right?
They are. They're...
Classical music nerd.
Yeah. Turns out, raising puppies, pretty dull.
Beethoven forced George Newton out of the front door, then nudged it closed with his nose. The door clicked shut and locked, leaving Mr. Newton stranded outside. He pounded hard on the door. Alice, Alice, open up.
What is he, Fred Flintstone?
He hated Mondays.
What is he, Garfield?
It's like, dude owns his own business, but he hates going to work. So, like, how does that work?
He's out drunk every night? What is he, Andy Cap?
I don't know.
He's got a horned helm? What is he, Hey God the Horrible? So, the kids skip school in order to feed the puppies because clearly these kids are not dumb enough already. But, put a pin in that, Lauren. Have you got a pin?
I did.
Is the pin in it?
It's in.
This is amazing. What are you doing to me?
So, this photo section, black and white, pictures of very bored St. Bernards not giving a shit about anything that is happening around them. You could not find a less enthusiastic dog.
That's disappointing. They couldn't even put a color photo section in?
No, and there's like only one tiny sort of blurry picture of Debbie Mazar as well.
Oh, there's no
Mazar.
like little funky dog on a skateboard or anything?
Not just dogs sitting. There's a dog in a bag, poking its head out of the bag. It's Charles Grodin holding 2 puppies.
Exciting.
Yeah, there we go. So, thanks to George's connections, the family is going to stay at a mountain cottage for the 3rd act. And this means that George has to first discover...
wailed Mr. Newton, as if he'd seen a horrible monster. But this is much worse. Puppies!
He sure hates puppies, am I right, you guys? And then they do crazy puppy shit. Like, they chew a slipper and they sit on him while he's trying to watch TV. It's bananas, Lauren.
Oh, man, I really am disappointed now that I didn't get to see this.
And George has to rescue Dolly from the toilet, and I bet he, like, looks in the toilet and saw her and went, I don't remember eating that. So funny. But for some lunatic reason, he decides that they can all go to the mountains anyway. They're going to take the puppies. Everybody's going to go up there to a cabin in the woods. Could it be the cabin in the woods? Do you remember that?
Oh, that would be awesome.
Do you remember when we read about the cabin?
Yes, that was a great one.
Maybe
for a little while.
someone's going to get impaled by a unicorn.
Or a merman.
A merman. That would be so good. Ethel Merman. But, whoa, someone's backing it up out there where you are.
Yeah, snow plows.
I have, like,
blizzard.
super hearing with these headphones. Like, when
we're having a blizzard right now.
when I put them on and, like, turn it up and like, my mic up, I can hear birds outside and I can hear and understand what they're saying.
Wow. Maybe you should call the doctor after this is over.
Maybe. The last things to be loaded on board were the puppies. Rice and Emily were putting them in the back seat while Alice watched them. You can say this line because it needs an American accent.
And have they done all their little duty pee-pee caca, she asked?
Who needs school? Because everybody just talks baby talk.
I know. Making cereal is so hard. A duty pee-pee caca.
President Baby Hands with his baby talk.
Yeah.
Uranium and things. It makes bad things and stuff.
And that. It's all fabulous.
Doesn't this sound like a fun car trip? Wouldn't you like to be stuck in this car for a couple of hours?
Ugh. The kids were amazed that their parents knew all the words to ancient songs like Duke of Earl, Leader of the Pack, Chapel of Love, and the ditty mysteriously named Do-wah diddy diddy dum diddy do.
More like do-wah diddy doody pee pee caca poo, am I right?
Oh man, parents.
Love them. So embarrassing, right? And yet you can't exist without them. What a bind. And you're never going to believe this, Lauren. Not in a billion years. Are you ready for this twist?
What?
Regina also has a cottage in the mountains, and she's living right near where the Newtons are staying.
Whoa.
And she lives there with her new beau, whose name is Floyd, played by Chris Penn, of all people, Sean Penn's brother. And I had to look this up because I was like, isn't he dead? He's dead.
He is dead, yes.
He died like 11 years ago.
Yeah.
At the age of 40.
Yeah, that was sad.
That is sad, because I always think of him very fondly as nice guy Eddie from Reservoir Dogs.
True. And how old are you, Luke? Remind me.
I'm 40 years old. Isn't that spooky?
Oh my gosh.
But I am already, if you can believe it, over halfway to 41.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Made it longer than Chris Penn.
Isn't that weird that he was in Reservoir Dogs? And then this is a film about 2 dogs that had sex in a reservoir.
I think that...
I'm assuming.
I'm sure they did, because they seem to be pretty all over the place.
Yeah, well, I mean, the film wasn't called Behind a Dumpster Dogs.
There's no leash laws, apparently, wherever they live.
No, Beethoven unleashed on Missy, for sure. So, Regina, she's still being absolutely hilarious.
You stupid, stupid animal, Regina screamed. She grabbed the thing nearest to her, a box of tissues, which was spelt wrong because no one proofread this book, apparently.
No, it's spelled Tissus.
And threw it at Missy, the cardboard container hitting her on the side of the head.
Oh, you want something to cry about, dog? You have some tissues, dog. I know. I didn't watch that in the film because if that's in the film, then I'm horrified.
I know, poor puppy.
Unless they built like a stunt dog out of like a barrel with some fur stapled to it, and she just threw the tissues at that.
Maybe, but maybe they just didn't put that one in.
I don't know. Maybe it was a Milo and Otis situation.
No.
I just think we need an investigation. And yes, let's investigate Beethoven 2 to distract from Russia.
Okay, sounds good. I'll get on Twitter right now.
I wouldn't be surprised if one of those 8 sequels is set in Russia.
Maybe.
Sort of like a Police Academy Mission to Moscow kind of deal. Anyway, Ted meets a hot girl called Janie.
Those are cute puppies, said Janie. Can I pet them?
Which was exactly what Ted was about to say to her.
Ted knew he had to act fast. He gathered up all his courage and took a deep breath. So, can I buy you a Coke? As soon as he spoke, he wondered if he had enough money to buy her a Coke.
Now, is this a regular thing in your neck of the woods? Is this part of the courtship ritual? Because they weren't jinxed or anything. It wasn't a jinx situation.
If they were older, it would be coffee. Like, hey, can I get you a coffee?
So it's about caffeine.
Yeah, exactly. Brown liquids with caffeine.
Okay, I'm just making a note of that. Weird subplot here with Rice. She meets a boy named Seth who drives her to Taylor's mountain cabin because Taylor Devereaux also is on holiday in the mountains. Like, everybody is in the mountains. And when she sees him there, he's got, like, these bikini girls there, and she's, like, a bit, I don't want to be here, I'm not welcome. But then at night, she goes back and gets dragged into a party at Taylor's house, where Beethoven begins to get really judgmental about people drinking beer.
Gentlemen, what time is it? They answered in a chorus, It's
brewski time!
Then they all chugged down their beers. Watching from below on the beach, Beethoven growled and pulled his chain tight as it would go, straining to keep Rice in sight.
Blah, blah.
I can't read today.
Look, reading has never been a prerequisite on this show. You know that.
True.
My computer's doing something weird. It's popping stuff up at me like an excited Beethoven. You get away, sir.
Uh-oh.
That's okay.
Did you click on that hot young puppies link or something?
Whoa. No, I didn't. Okay, It's all right. I think it's under control. I think, a lesser show would edit that out, but I think that's all part of the flavor.
I think the listeners want to know.
I think the listeners need total transparency, especially in these trying times where there's a lot of accusations flying around.
I agree.
Thank you. So Taylor takes Rice into her bedroom and...
Behind her, Taylor smiled and as quietly as possible locked the door. But Rice heard the click as the mechanism slipped into place, and she turned quickly.
All right, so this is getting serious. I'm going to play the trigger warning.
T-I-double-G-R. That spells Tigger.
Yeah, this is sinister. All the good-looking boys in these things are sinister. And I'm not saying, we're not all like that. Not all men, etc. I'm saying, no, if I had a young daughter in these days, etc., I would be like, watch this movie. Everybody is evil. Don't go near them and don't go to some strange party and get locked in a bedroom.
Exactly.
So this is just nuts. It all just gets nuts from this point. Like, it's like I don't understand how this whole plot with Rice and this boy that comes on too strong has anything to do with this puppy storyline or presumably the first film. Like, it's like they got to the third act and were just, well, something's got to happen. And, they were brainstorming. Everyone was writing down, you can write down whatever you want. Someone wrote date rape and they went, we got nothing better.
Yeah, it's so sweet. It's just like, sexuality is evil and you have to teach kids not to do anything bad ever, and it's bad and grr.
Look, there's a time and a place, but I don't know if Beethoven II is that time, is that place.
Right, I agree, because it's a kids' movie.
Exactly. Taylor pushes himself onto Rice, but downstairs...
They all popped open the cans and poured them over the side of the balcony, splashing Beethoven with beer. Beethoven ducked and pulled away hard, trying to avoid the falling liquid. Operation Brewski for Fido, Operation Wide Poochie, yelled Howard. Beer storm moving in. Beethoven strained at his leash. He was getting very angry.
I don't get Operation Wide Poochie. Is that a pun or something?
Yeah, I don't know. Weird.
Sounds like Operation Wide Poochie's going on upstairs. I regret that instantly. But look, picture this. I mean, this is why I think you didn't need to see the movie, because I didn't watch this part of the movie either. But doesn't this just paint a vivid picture of there's Beethoven and he's getting showered with beer and he's shaking his head around and there's beer going into his mouth. He's getting drunk. He's getting angry. Like, you talked about, why not call this Beethoven 2 off the leash? Because he is going bonkers.
Yeah,
and
Beethoven 2 bites someone and gets put to sleep.
Yeah. Because, holy shit, listen to this. Rice was really scared now. No, let me out of here. Magic, said Taylor. Come on, look at the view, the moon. There's only one thing missing. I bet I know what that thing is, and I don't approve. He leaned against the wall, but before his arm actually touched it, the entire wall of the bedroom collapsed in a shower of plaster, and Taylor fell right through the hole. Beethoven is smashing up the place like the goddamn Kool-Aid Man.
Oh, yeah. Smash the patriarchy, Beethoven. No means no. Don't grab my... wait, okay. Never mind. These are things I have to say now.
You do. You have to continually remind people. I've just realized that I have seen so many pop culture references of the Kool-Aid Man smashing through a wall. I don't think I've ever seen a commercial.
Really?
Yeah, I think I have to look at that now because I'm compelled.
Yeah, just Google it. I'm sure it's on there.
Here we go. Ready? Because we don't have Kool-Aid in Australia because of, laws.
Because it's gross. It's not food.
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit. He's a maniac. He's if people don't...
Yeah.
Wow! He's like a jug with a face that just busts into people's houses.
Kool-Aid's got thirst on the run, get a big...
Holy crap. He smashed through a kitchen and he smashed through the refrigerator.
Wow.
That is so cool. That is pretty boss.
Yeah. It's better than those lame California raisins.
I'll say. They're like so shrivelly and old and wrinkled. They should be retired.
And healthy.
So healthy. Keep me so regular. Hate them. But look, it doesn't stop there, this craziness. The next day, there's a 4th of July fair. And when some kids hassle that little pussy Ted in front of top drawer toddy Janie, Beethoven gets roped in again. He's the muscle.
Okay, said Ted. This is the last one, I promise, Beethoven. When I give the signal, bite this guy on the wiener. Looking up at the boys, Beethoven growled and snarled, baring his big white teeth. His jaws snapped as if he couldn't wait to do what Ted commanded.
He is worse than Cujo, is he not?
Worse, because Cujo just had rabies, so it wasn't his fault.
That's right. He wasn't going around biting off people's wieners.
That's correct.
And kids' wieners.
I know. This movie, what's going on?
It just took a weird turn, didn't it? And both of these kids solved their problems, which occurred because of flaws in their judgment. I shouldn't say that. That makes me sound like she's not the victim. She was the victim. That wasn't her fault. But I mean, they're dumb kids. And I don't know if Beethoven's into intervention in either of these scenarios has really like solved their problems or taught them anything, or guarantees that these things won't happen again in the future.
True. They don't know if they've learned anything.
That's right. And, you know, if I sit my kids down in front of a DVD of Beethoven's Second, I expect them to learn something. I expect them, because these narratives are quite condensed as well, I expect this to be the equivalent of 3 or 4 hours of school.
I guess it's good that you don't have kids.
Not yet. But
that you're aware of.
Like Beethoven, I might just be out. I might see a pink bow and go on a little trip to the reservoir, if you get the drift.
I get your drift.
My Tokyo drift.
What happens next?
What happens next? Keep going.
Keep going.
All right. And oh my God, Lauren, this is the absolute best thing ever. I could not have asked for more from this book. Here we go. This, for me, is the climax.
Now there's a hungry-looking dog, one of the men said to Ted. He pointed at Beethoven. You gonna sign him up?
Sign him up for what? Asked Ted.
The man pointed to a sign. Pet and owner burger binge. First prize, 500 pounds of dog food.
What's a burger binge? Asked Emily.
It's an eating contest, the man explained, for pets and their owners.
So
Emily doesn't go to school either, apparently.
So not only is this where the hamburger shows up, but this is a lot of hamburgers showing up. And this is a contest based around eating hamburgers. And this is a contest where man and animal team up to eat the most hamburgers. This is perfection.
America! F yeah!
This is America just absolutely nailing it. I feel like everything's been leading up into this moment where Charles Grodin and St. Bernard
eat burgers together.
with their arms behind their backs. It's absolutely fantastic. Side by side, the contestants and their dogs started wolfing down the burgers, crowding to the front of the stage. The excited audience cheered on their favorites. And of course, this drags in a crowd.
Of course, I would go see a big dog and Charles Grodin eating burgers, even though I'm sure the dog's not good for them to eat burgers.
No, and they have an equal amount of burgers. Because I did watch this scene. I had to watch it. I was like, this is just the best scene in any American film ever. Like, this should be legendary. This should be just referenced in everything.
I agree. I think I'm going to look this one up later.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and there's some really big fat dudes and their dogs at the table. And they're doing those, like, this is researched. Because I've seen that competitive eating thing before. Not in person, only on American things. Where they're punching the buns to like, soften them up and mash them up so that they can get them in their mouths quicker.
Yep,
Absolutely
and they dip
fantastic.
them in water sometimes.
Oh, my God. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. Well, it should be in the Olympics.
Yeah.
So,
gross.
Charles Grodin is eating burgers with a dog and...
Daddy, Daddy, Daddy. The Newton kids chanted as he jumped up and down. Beethoven did his part to win the contest, gulping down burgers as if they were big, hairy, hamburger-eating machine.
Where can I get one of these big, hairy hamburger-eating machines? Because that just sounds wonderful.
Oh, man, just go to any McDonald's. Zing!
Look out. And they win, of course they win. Sitting side by side, George and Beethoven looked at each other, then belched in unison. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
How does this tie back to the plot about the other dog? Like, this is just filler, right?
This is literally filler.
Yeah.
They are filling themselves with the filler. It's fantastic. The little weird date rape scene was filler, and then what better way to just cap that off with a hamburger eating contest? I mean, this film has everything.
Yeah. Food, sex, that's it. That's all you need.
None of it's related to each other, but by God, like, what a pot of ingredients.
Kids will watch any crap.
As I said, this is 200 pages. I 170 pages in at this point. I only had 30 pages left. And I just thought, like, it's not going to get any better than the hamburger eating contest. Like, that is really where you should end it. So I'm just going to say Regina and Floyd, they kidnap the puppies, there's a chase, and then they fall off a cliff.
No one was paying attention to Missy, so she edged forward and nudged Regina in the behind and sent her and Floyd flying over the edge of the cliff, screaming at the top of their lungs. Regina and Floyd slid bottom first down the steep slope, rocks and tree branches bashing them on the head with every foot they fell. Then, about 100 feet down, they landed with an enormous splat in a little lake that was filled with black mud as thick as crude oil.
Their bodies were crushed and paralyzed. Their bones were picked apart by wild animals.
Yeah, hilarious. Let's push people off a cliff. Speaking of Milo and Otis here.
Oh, God, yes. Yeah, but you can't get another Debbie Mazar. There's only
True.
one, in my opinion. So that takes us to the end. And I have not read this yet. I don't know what happens. I don't know if bloody Taylor Devereaux is hiding in the back of the car when they leave. I have no idea. So let's find out. Ted and Emily were first up, throwing Newton air fresheners into a dustbin. Something's reeking there. Okay, I'm going to go back a sentence because I don't know what's happening. By the time George had been ready to make his TV commercial, he didn't have enough money left over to hire actors, so he had used his own family.
Aww.
Ted and Emily were first up, throwing Newton air fresheners into a dustbin. Something's reeking, they rapped. The family's freaking. Throw in a Newton. I told you, widest family there ever has been. Then Rice appeared on the screen. A serious stench on the exercise bench? Throw in a Newton. Now it was George's turn. Something offensive? You're hypersensitive. That's pushing it a little bit.
Yeah, that's...
The whole family was gathered to watch the commercial, although it was not the first time they had seen it. This thing has been on for months, George told Mr. Brillo, and it's still bringing in business. I bet Brillo gave him some money.
Probably because he saved Missy.
Yeah. Suddenly the puppies got wind of the fact that Mr. Brillo was there. They came bounding into the room and pounced on the man, although they were hardly puppies anymore. They were huge, almost as big as Beethoven and Missy. And where were the proud mother and father? They were outside, running across the lawn, playing and frolicking in the grass. They were so happy, it seemed as if music was playing on the breeze, serenading them as Missy and Beethoven ran into the sunset together forever. And that, my dear, is the end.
Forever, or for, like, the 3 more years that they live.
Can you even imagine, like, what the Christ were the other movies even about? I'm going to look up Beethoven on Wikipedia, and I know I'm going to get the composer, but I'm going to type
There's one
in
about a
dog.
treasure hunt. I saw that one at the library. He's like a treasure hunter or something.
You should have just watched that one.
Yeah, that would have been interesting.
Oh, hang on. Beethoven. You've got to vamp while I look this up.
Oh, does he go to space? Beethoven on Mars?
Okay, are you ready for what these
Beethoven
are called?
Back to the Past?
Beethoven, 1992. Beethoven's second, 93.
Yeah.
Beethoven's third, 2000.
yeah.
7 years off, and probably a new Beethoven.
Definitely.
Beethoven's fourth, 2001. It's the second worst thing to happen in 2001. Beethoven's fifth, 2003. What do you reckon the next one's called?
The 6th.
Beethoven's Big Break, 2008. I think he breaks his spine in that one.
Breaks
Beethoven's
his hips.
Christmas Adventure, 2011. And in 2014, Beethoven's Treasure Trail. Trail.
Treasure Trail.
Tail.
The Treasure Trail is something else.
Yes, that's true. Oh, and the first 5 are the first storyline. Beethoven's fourth, Beethoven accidentally switches places with Michelangelo, a well-behaved lookalike.
Oh, he doesn't have to have a dance contest to save the failing community center? That would be good.
Beethoven's fifth, Sarah takes Beethoven to visit her crazy uncle.
Okay, who's Sarah?
Who's the crazy uncle?
Yeah, Christopher Lloyd, probably.
Sarah is Davey Chase?
Oh, the little girl from The Ring.
Ah, she was Samara.
Yeah, in the American Ring.
And the uncle is
7 days.
is Dave Thomas?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Canadian bacon.
Yeah. Wow. So, there you go. I got to ask you, Lauren, knowing that you have to fake this, was the book better?
I'm going to say no, because I at least would like to look at really cute puppies.
That's true. I like to look at puppies too.
Yeah, I would rather see little puppies running around than read about little puppies running around.
I'd rather see two firm puppies than
On
read
Debbie Mays.
any of this stuff. That's absolutely right. I'd rather see two pert little puppies rummaging around under a jumper.
Mm-hmm.
So I am going to go with the movie too, just because it has Charles Grodin eating a whole lot of hamburgers. And in my opinion, that's a pretty great movie.
Yeah, I think the hamburgers would have saved it. Skip the date rape, go to the hamburgers.
That is exactly the quote on their movie poster.
Right, that's my life's philosophy.
I like it. Very, very good. And I'm very sorry to say that there were no reviews. Nobody has read this book before. We are the first. We are pioneers.
Oh, great.
So stiff upper lip, champ. We're like explorers.
It's good to be known to be the first for something, I guess.
We're like
If you
Lois
can't be the
and
best,
Clark.
be the first.
That's true. See what I did there? Lois and Clark. It was a clever thing. Because I'm a Superman. All right. Well, that was something, wasn't it? That was an adventure.
It was.
It's a little bit of fun on a Tuesday evening.
Tuesday morning?
Tuesday morning for you.
Yeah.
You're going to think it was all a dream.
That's true. When I go back to sleep, I'm going to wake up and be like, did I remember to get up today and call Luke?
Well, look, at least, it was the sort of show that I would recommend having a shower afterwards. So, first thing in the morning, perfect.
Great. Well, thanks for having me again.
Thank you for being had.
Oh, always. I'm available. I like to be on your show.
Did you have fun today?
Of course.
Was it all a bit too much?
No, it's always fun.
Okay, well that's good. I apologise for all the sexy dog things that happened in this show, but I just speak the truth. I just tell it how it is. If it's on the page,
You do you.
I've got to talk about it. Alrighty, well, thank you everyone for listening. You can find out everything that we're doing at fruitlesspursuits.com. If you're wondering why there was no FP cast this week, it was because Jacinta was sick and just a huge baby. And, I don't have a voice. I've lost my voice. Well, I'm not responsible for where you leave your things, So, I didn't get to see Skull Island. You didn't get to hear my opinion about, like, a giant monkey thing. But next week, that will happen. Thanks, of course, to our Patreon supporters. You can find links on our Fruitless Pursuits page to our Facebook discussion group and our Facebook page. iTunes, just rate, review, just make us feel special and important and loved. That would be great.
Yeah, do that. It's fun. The group is fun. Everybody go in the Facebook group.
It is fun. And it's like a smart group, but don't let that be intimidating. Because if you're a big dummy, just come on and say some dumb stuff, and that's fine too.
Yep. I'm always saying dumb stuff.
We just love to hear from you. And then you can go, oh, well, let me tell you my opinions about movies and things. And I'll be like, you're wrong. I won't really. I'm very tolerant and open-minded.
That's true.
Okay, well, I think that's it, right? Anything that you wanted to add?
Nope.
Any stories, tangents, anecdotes?
Nope.
Limericks?
Nah.
All right, well, let's get out of here.
All right, see ya.
Oh my god, what a rookie mistake.
Oh no, I'll catch you on the flips.
Jumanji, there we go.